Multiple Campus for inviting me. I'm very much delighted and overwhelmed being in front of you in this particular role as a keynote speaker. I'm a little bit confused and a little bit hopeless too. Always I do interact national and international conferences within round table, within 50, 40, 20, that sort of participants. But the huge mass, like as a one leader, I'm not a leader, I'm university faculty. So before that, what sort of idea I'm going to share with you, it's my experience-based that sort of knowledge. I didn't borrow from any particular paradigm, theory, philosophy, or methodology. That's why I was attempting how to connect with you, because I am attempting to connect many dots. When I began my university job as a faculty at Center for Nepal and Asian Studies, Tribhuvan University, I was just a researcher. Then when I was carrying out my research, then I got an opportunity to work with one professor from Oxford University, United Kingdom. I worked 3 years with him. Then as a byproduct of that, our grant project, I earned my PhD from Japan. So I would claim, not only based on that experience, I do hold certain sort of essences, what we are having in Nepal, particularly at Tribhuvan University. Again, that's sort of my experience working with British professor, then this Japanese tradition. I would like to begin with one particular incident. Maybe some of the Gen Zs, you were not born. It was in 2003, January 28th. I was recruited as a co-researcher of that international research project. Then we had an appointment with one activist, I would call. Now he became later Minister of Nepal. And our time was around 8 a.m. Then we reached at his home. I don't like to describe more. Then I was introduced by Professor Gellner. He is Karki. He's working at CNAS. He's our research associate. Then he said, could we begin research interview? Then I said, okay. Then he said, where are you from? What were the professions or details of your grandparents, parents, what you are doing, all these things. Then I was thinking that he's just developing certain sort of rapport. But at some point, he said, my interview is finished. Do you have any questions? I was so shocked. At Tribhuvan University, at my classroom, I was instructed first to go to the field. First you need to digest either Karl Marx, Max Weber, Emile Durkheim, or grand theories. Then you can develop ideas from that particular field. But the professor's approach was quite different. Then I said, that was the very much shocking point. Then I thought, in this territorial philosophy, I would call this territorial philosophy, abhava. What sort of abhava? Abhava is not nothingness. Abhava is existed there, but the bhava yet to be generated. In that particular context, what is research? I got certain sort of bhava while interacting and going through that interview. Then working with Professor Gellner, at some point we have published 3 book chapters together. It has appeared from Sage, book chapter. Then I realized that even within that bhava, what sort of bhava I had developed from that particular working experience with Professor Gellner, again I got abhava. Then at some point, Professor Gellner, when I was carrying out my fieldwork and doing my PhD, he asked, what is your PhD? Then he replied, I was confused. Your PhD is the answer of your research questions. What sort of research questions you do pose, the answer of that research questions is your PhD. Then I was very much, confused at that time how to digest that particular term. Then at some point these days, I'm teaching, not teaching, that is a very special content I do call interacting with MPhil and PhD level students at Tribhuvan universities in 3 departments: sociology, conflict, peace and development studies, and social work. Interacting with my junior colleague, then at some point I realized that if my PhD is the answer of my research questions, then what was the questions posed by our rishis, then the product is Rig Veda? What were the questions behind Mundum? What was the questions behind Niwa civilization, Tharu civilization, Muslim civilization? These must be the certain product of some questions. Then I delve myself into different literatures, then I will join myself at some point. Then my title today is that certain absence. Absence is in the sense of Buddha's sunyata. Sunyata, it means that is not nothingness. Existence existed at 2 dimensions, domains. One is independent existence, another is dependent existence. And when we will realize that there is non-existence of independent existence, that is sunyata, from where Buddha departs, then that sort of absence is an inquiry. Earlier I was listening our inaugural session and keynote speech by my colleague and Professor Chalise. We were asking like a Prashna, or questions, jigyasa, or some sort of, how many that sort of languages we do have to inquire. We haven't done that sort of research. To a great extent, that's why, to me, I'm dealing this philosophical foundation of social science research to my MPhil and PhD level, my colleagues. Then I asked myself, I need to work in this particular field. Then I have presented, it's my lifelong project, I have presented this sort of content at Oxford University in 2022, Kyoto University in Japan, Salk University in Delhi, then Sichuan University in China, and a few months back in Kathmandu, when Professor Gellner got retired, then there was a conference. We were working with Professor Gellner, we organized one conference. Then these are the things. That's why, what sort of idea in science, always, it begins from, maybe some of you know, SPA I would call, Socrates, Plato and Aristotle. From there, rationalism, empiricism, and the fusion of rationalism and empiricism becomes natural, that sort of philosophy. That natural philosophy is the precedence of science. And from that science, positivism, and positivism to interpretivism, anti-positivism, post-positivism, critical realism, that sort of history we do have. But in this evolution, what is working there? First is falsifiable. Second is skepticism. If we would assume every theory, every paradigm, every that sort of aspects like as a religious belief, then social science would turn like as a religion, not as a science. Science must be contested, reformed. That's why always I do depart with some my departing philosophy where I do locate myself while dealing with this education like as social science. Nothing is permanent except change. Change is the permanent one. The other everything are not permanent. So what sort of knowledge we have developed till today, we should ask, we should review, we should retrospect, then we need to develop new thing based on what Sir already mentioned, that local, but I'm challenging that local. Who is local in the world and who is global? In that context, knowledge is local or global, who defines? And the title of this seminar is also research. Who is defining research? From which frame and aspect we are defining research? If these are the precondition or measurements, it would get fulfilled. That would be a research, otherwise no research. Then I am delving that sort of questions. Then I have proposed 2-3 things. One is based on this Rig Veda. There are 10,028 suktas in Rig Veda. Out of this Rig Veda, 10.20 in this, sukta, it's called Nasadiya Sukta. Nasadiya Sukta, it means that there is no existence, nor existence, inexistence or existence. I will come with this point. How I come with this point? This is the global, Bhugola. You can Google it at Oxford University, History of Science and Museum. You could find this Bhugola. From India, it was created, developed by Chamakarna in 1571. Britishers collected it in 17th century when they were colonizing India. Then they have put it in this History Science Museum, where we could not find political that sort of boundary. There was no India, no Nepal, no China, no America. All were at some point. That's why I'm engaging such a sort of point that is non-existence and existence. Existence is itself evolution. In that context, that is the only point. And some, these certificates were distributed by organizer. I appreciate it, but I am also in the PhD awarding committee at Tribhuvan University in 3 faculties: Humanities and Social Sciences, Law, and IOM, medicine. I have awarded, I'm witnessed, not awarded, I'm witnessed awarding more than 100, 200, nearly 200 PhDs in Nepal. In that context, always I do get very much confronted that sort of, essences. We do award PhD based on certain, I employed this Marxist theory or Weberian theory or something, Foucaultian theory. Then one day, just 2 months back, in one Nepali literature, one PhD we awarded, she is also our faculty at TU. She on her PhD, her title was in progressive, Naris in progressive novel. Nari Atma, Nariness in progressive, literature. Then she, analyzed through hermeneutics some novels of Nepal. Then she employed, because of progressive Marxist philosophy, she said that Atma resides inside the jivas. Then I was making a little bit joke. Then I said, if I could scan, X-ray, where I could get my Atma? Where is Atma inside me? My bone is very much visible. My stomach is very much visible. Where is Atma? Then in Parijat's novel, there is written, Mon mailo cha, Mon dukheko cha, Mon bhachieko cha. These are the particular, these territorial terms which cannot be translated into English. If we do attempt to translate this into the English, then essences will get lost. That is the central theme I would like to convey and I would like to share with you through this, So this is the thing already I said. Even you can Google right now, these Oxford universities, this Bhugola. Bhugola is an earth ball. Bhugola in Sanskrit, what sort of conceptual density or essences occupies its holes, and in earth ball, that is nothing. Lots of things has been erased while translating from Bhugola to earth ball. That's why our social science is not connected with this ground. That's why politicians are being abused by our new generations. That's why we university faculties are being blamed by we are providing certificate but students are flying abroad in Gulf country or somewhere. That's why we need to revisit based on this skepticism, based on this certain falsifiable, and in the philosophy of nothing is permanent except change. That is another thing. So for that, maybe this is the thing, how this A alphabet got appeared, God gave, or it is a certain sort of process. I copied it from, well, not from professors, from young students, like as 3000 BC, alphabet A was like as the head of this, cow or ox. It appeared in 114 AD, like as this upper A. It means that all what we have developed, these are based on evolution. If this is the evolution, we are in the process of evolution. Universities should get focused and concentrate on that. That is what I call innovation. That is I called research. Research is not just certain sort of submitting certain paper, certain sort of report to any donors, any university levels or government level. What sort of connection we do have through that research? We are being connected or not? I'm not. I don't like to use that term, but Professor Salishe was saying that intervention. I'm from social sciences. I do have little bit reservation with that term intervention. Who is interventor? If I have studied 10 theories or 20 theories, what sort of mindset I have developed, can I intervene something within that particular community that your knowledge is faulty? I have studied that 20 theories or philosophies, then I have to intervene. What you are doing, that is wrong. That is not in my education philosophy, where I think innovation to some extent in this territorial philosophy contradicts with that sort of idea. But many new disciplines like social work, conflict, peace and development studies, gender studies, always they have picked up that term as a language itself has emerged and became to intervene that particular society. That is to some extent we need to revisit. We need to ask ourselves, that is the one thing, why? Like this, how many constitutions we do have? We have promulgated 7. More than that, 545 years back, Nyaya Vikasini was promulgated by the then Malla king in Kathmandu. We call it Nyaya Vikasini. Then, even in our constitution, if you go through 1948 constitution, you could not find any that sort of male or female term. In 1951, you would find Nari, Istri, Aiman. Then in 1959, another term emerged. In 1962, Panchayat, that sort of constitution, Mahila emerged. Then from 1990 to 2007, in 2015, Mahila has been dominating this sort of our knowledge system in Nepali, and all constitutions has been translated as a women. Then I would ask myself, where is Nari? Nari is Mahila. Nari, Mahila, Swasni Manche, or Aiman, or women. Can women, the conceptual bag, the meaning, it can carry entire that sort of terms what we have been utilizing since Nyaya Vikasini, 545 years back. Some of our mothers, grandmothers, sometimes there is a certain sort of ideas is being collided. Sometimes they have been appeared as a women, like as Mahila, sometimes as a Nari, sometimes as a Istri. So our social science especially is being confused in this particular context. That is the thing. So this is the theme one. And another is like as politicians were claiming that through this process, we do have this sort of political, we are giving political justice. So you can see when I calculated these constitutions and these Nyaya Vikasini, I found that very top, like as women appeared in 4 times in 1951 and 49 in 2015. Similarly, Dalit, indigenous, Madhesis, these are appeared only in 2007 constitution. It means that democracy is also, it's being restructured. What sort of democracy